My name is Irons07. I belong to the United Industries of Hades General Corporation or conglomerate of corporations, and this is White Star 101 Basics. What is a White Star? I am recording this video here, and this is, if you've never played a White Star before, this will be just a very kind of basic ground level. What is a White Star? What's the purpose? And what can you expect? So to start, a White Star is just like a red star or a blue star in terms of it is a event that you will enter your battleships or a battleship, and you will enter a civilian, either a transporter or miner, into it. And the big difference between a White Star, blue star, and a red star is a red star is a co-op, up to 4-player players versus computer or players versus environment PvE game where you're trying to retrieve the artifacts. You should very likely well aware of how that works. By this point, a blue star, as you're probably aware as well, is usually a 5-person king of the hill or last man standing battle mode with just your battleship. A White Star, though, is a team versus team. So corporation versus corporation game in which you are trying to win by retrieving more relics, as they call them, from the planets in the White Star compared to your opponent. So big difference is they're team matches, and the team sizes on a White Star are generally 5v5, or must be either a 5v5, a 10v10, or a 15v15 at this point in the game. Those may change with the update for Dark Nebula, but for now, those are the 3 sizes you can have. You do need a corporation to run a White Star, as well as you need a White Star scanner, which is built in your yellow star. Now, what are some of the big differences between a red star and a blue star, other than just the kind of game mode? A White Star is a 5-day match, so it is long. It's a very long time, and there is what I call time dilation, but essentially what I'm meaning there is that a White Star takes 5 days, and simple moves from, say, traveling just across the sector, you're probably used to it in a red star, yellow star, or blue star to take, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 seconds to get across. In a White Star, it can take 5 hours or longer. So there's some time dilation. The math is about 600 for a normal transporter or a normal ship to move so far per second. It's 600 seconds in a White Star. That's per second. So if it took you 30 seconds to cross, on average, say, a sector with your ship, to do that in a White Star of equivalent speed in size of a sector, it's going to take you 5 hours. So a White Star is very slow. That is something that is initially off-putting for some players, but it does make it bearable in my mind to play a 5-day long match against an enemy. It would be very difficult to commit five days straight to play a real-time red star. But with the time dilation, it's not too bad. It's usually typically manageable. Now, there are things called ticks, which are just 2-minute intervals. So instead of the game every second slightly moving all the ships, ships will generally move every 2 seconds. Every 2 minutes, not 2 seconds. Every 2 minutes, you'll see progress. So all these ships on the screen, you'll watch, they're probably looking pretty static, but every about 2 minutes, you should see the ships move ever so slightly. And that's true for movement, for damage, for duration of modules. Things are also all 600 times slower in a White Star. Now, what will you need to bring in to a White Star? Generally, every player will bring in 1 battleship, and that's the max limit. Every single player on the team can bring in is 1 battleship, and then 1 what we call civilian ship, either a miner or a transport. And so you can alter out your ships. You can jump them out, upgrade them, swap the modules and jump them back in. That's fine. That's usually a typical part of the game. But again, at maximum, you will be allowed, you yourself, 1 battleship, and then either 1 miner or one transport at a time in the White Star. Now, again, take in mind with that 600 times slowdown of speed, you do need to understand that, if you're about Red Star 4 or 5, you may have a large enough shipyard or ship capacity to dedicate ships to the White Star. Again, you won't see them likely in your if you send a ship into the White Star, you likely won't see it for up to 5 days. So don't count on using those same ships for your red stars, blue stars, etc. Even shipping in your yellow star. They won't be available. Those ships will be in the White Star. So just a caveat note, that's why most players won't start seriously playing White Star before a Red Star 4. You just generally don't have the ship capacity in your shipyard. Next up, so what is the purpose of White Star? Why are you playing? What's it for? So again, I think I've mentioned before here, each team is battling out for relics that are generated up and on these planets that are spaced out throughout the map. You'll see we have a jump gate over here from one team, Gemini Industries. That's where I'm currently participating from. And we'll see another jump gate hanging out over here for the Brit Boys, our opponent for this White Star. You can see my allied ships are all are in greenish yellow. My ships are marked in blue. And then enemy ships are marked out in red. So all the ships are in here. What are we doing? We're all battling over the planets, essentially, and the hydrogen via the asteroids that are on the map. The map is also, I should note, generally symmetrical. If you take where the jump gate is on one side, and you take the jump gate from on the other side, and then you fold it kind of across an imaginary line, the map is generally the same. They're mirrors of each other. So it's not 100% always a mirror, but it generally is. So where I would see a level 10 planet over here, I'd probably expect to see one right up here. Again, kind of the equidistant from both jump gates from here to here is probably roughly about the same distance from here to here. So the game is roughly symmetrical on each side to try and keep things fair. That's not always the case. For example, this level planet 10 here, there's not an equal one over here. It does happen, but again, it's not, I wouldn't say rare necessarily, but the map is generally symmetrical. And so is the amount of hydrogen on both sides. For the most part, there are an equal number or quantity of hydrogen on both sides. The asteroids themselves may look slightly differently or have different quantities, but each sector generally has the same amount of hydrogen as the mirror sector across the map. That's again to try and keep things equal, so each team has roughly equal footing at winning. Your purpose: you are taking your miners to go out and mine hydrogen from the asteroid fields. You will then drop off the hydrogen onto the planets, and those planets will generate relics. At which point your transports, or what is more common in the current game mode, you'll use what we call relic drones, which here's some really small ones here that this team is sending. It's an upgrade module for the transport section, the shippers. And again, they'll send those to the planet. You can see this planet right now has 16 relics on it. And they are to be picked up via these transports, these relic drones, and then returned back to your gate for points. So we can see on this particular match, my team, Gemini Industries, we're a little bit behind. We have 0 relics compared to our enemy that has 8, but we still have, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, underneath the star, it says it's 2 days and 9 hours left, or also you can click on the center of the star itself, and it'll tell you there's 2 days, 9 hours, 33 minutes left until Nova. There are 3 different planet types. Each of the planet types does differently. So this is a level 10, or we commonly call it a P10. This one up here is a P5, a level 5 planet. And then there are P1s, which are level 1 planets. The biggest difference is the amount of hydrogen it takes to generate a relic per planet. So a level 10, if you come down here, click on the planet, click on this magnifying glass, it'll bring up this page here, this detail page. You'll see it naturally generates 1 relic per day, all on its own. But in addition, every 150 hydrogen you drop on the planet, it will generate 1 relic. For P5s, it only generates, a third of a relic per day, naturally, but also every 300 hydrogen you drop, so twice as much hydrogen cost per relic on a P5, and then the P1 is up to 500 hydrogen it takes, so even worse. Not quite double the amount as a P5, but still quite a bit more. And it's common in most maps, not always the case, but it is pretty common in most maps. The planet ones obviously are easiest to pick up from. They're the easiest to defend from because they're the closest to your jump gate. That's usually why they have less. That's very likely the reasoning why they cost more hydrogen per relic, meaning you'll get less relics for your hydrogen. P5s are usually spaced out a little bit further out, so they're a little bit harder to defend. And usually the P10s, in most cases, almost all the matches I've been in, but not all, the P10s are usually dead smack in the middle, kind of that center line between both jump gates. That way both sides have kind of an equal chance, and they're the hardest to defend for the obvious reason that they're closest. They're equidistant from both sides, so both teams have equal chance to get to them. All right, so that does talk about the different kinds of planets. It also hopefully keys you into some different strategies. Obviously, capturing a planet 10 and depositing your hydrogen on it will generate more relics, giving your team the better chance to retrieve all those relics, get them home, and win the match. You'll have more relics than your opponent. What are relics used for, you might ask? So relics level up your corporation. So every corporation has a level, and you can come in here and you can see how many relics it takes to upgrade your corporation, which does various different benefits such as more seats, better passive income, more bonus percentages on your art, and it can help you allow you to upgrade your flagship even further, even higher. So I also touched on what the flagship is. Let me go ahead and explain that. Corporations inside of a White Star will be allowed to jump in one corporation flagship, so one per team. Your officers have control of them. The senior members and members will not be able to control the flagship. And they come with different modules depending upon their level, different amount of damage. As you can see, it takes 20 million credits here to upgrade this one. We've only donated 50,000 at this point. And you can see some of the stats as it upgrades. I highly recommend checking the Hades Star Compendium app on iOS or Android to learn more about the different modules on a flagship. I'm not going to be covering that in this video. All right, last thing here is going to be also, so what? So you level up your corporation, you get some of these nice little side benefits. That's great. In addition, what's in it for you? Depending upon if your team wins, loses, or draws the match, meaning how many relics your team retrieves compared to the opponent, will also generate credit and hydrogen rewards for you. So we commonly refer to this bar here that's now on the left side of the screen as the red bar. For obvious reasons, there's usually quite a bit of red on the bar. That's usually the easiest way to fill up your progress bar as a team. So as you can read here, it says increase the activity bar by dealing damage to enemy battleships, depositing hydrogen, or transferring relics out of the system. So you can see the red bar there is the summation of all the damage we've dealt to enemy ships, particularly enemy battleships, I should clarify. The purple bar that's been progressed is because we have mined a bunch of hydrogen from these asteroids that used to be in these kind of sectors here, and we've deposited them recently onto our P5 here, generating 56 relics for us to retrieve. We have yet to retrieve any relics and bring them back to our jump gate, but that's what these relic drones are being sent out to do. They're sending out to the planet to come pick up, and then they will return, hopefully safely without being destroyed, back to our jump gate, giving us relics and hopefully helping us win the match. When you win the match, there are, depending upon your participation, 1 tick, 2 tick, or up to 3 ticks, there are different reward tiers, in addition to whether your team wins, loses, or draws. And finally, it also depends upon your red star scanner level. So there is a Discord command of the %, WSR, and a space, and your red star scanner level at the end of the match. Just put that in at the number and hit enter, and as long as you've run it in a bot channel on the United Industries of Hades, it will return to you the rewards table, which you can look at. I won't be toggling over to it, but I will post up on the Discord links here that I have. I will have those commands posted up so you can have a look at them. Those rewards are not to be taken lightly. Much later in the game, I mean, they are worth millions of credits and hundreds of thousands of hydrogen occasionally, depending upon your level. And if your team wins, loses, or draws. So big credits, big credit rewards, big hydrogen rewards. Even if you lose, well, they're usually half as much as you would get if you win. They're still sizable. So again, participating, filling up the bar really helps your team. So be sure to do what you can to coordinate with your team. A lot of the White Star is team-based. You need to work as a team to accomplish the mission of what you're attempting to do. By working together, you can really deliver some great results. That is the general conclusion of what I wanted to cover today. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate. Reach out to me. Again, this is Irons07. I'm part of the UIH, or United Industries of Hades, and we look forward to chatting with you more on future videos. Thanks all.